Hello, good morning. So, what we are going to do today is we are going to talk about how we can display JSON in an HTML web page, since what we are building is essentially a JSON to SQL converter. So, let's see how we can proceed doing that. So, I'm going to start up my development environment, sudo gedit readme, and then put my password in so I can save the files. Now I'm using the programmer's text editor, which is free, and everything that I am using to build this is completely free and open source. I am not using any development environments whatsoever. Just everything is as it was intended through the Unix, Java, open source, free freedom um, initiative. So let's see what we can do. It opened on the other side, so let me drag the window over so you can see it. Here it is. Now we're going to look at the web project, and I'm going to go in here where the web app lives, and then I think I'll start a new file. Let's create a new file. What I'm going to do here is sometimes it puts it in the wrong place because, it's a free editor. What do you expect? And it's a way I can just get to this path. So I'm at Java Web API. So I want to go cd web, cd source, cd main, cd web app, and then I can just do a touch. What do we want to call it? Pretty print. So pretty print.html. Save. Now, again, because it's free, it doesn't do things like automatically update when you create a file. You have to close it and open it. So it's just little things like that that are different. Then I basically just, so there's minor inconveniences when you use free things versus, but saving $1,000 is probably worth it. So I am just going to copy this as a template. So this is be called a pretty print JSON example. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create, to show JSON on a web page, this I had to learn myself. I'll create a content area, and then you use these pre-tags. And then what I want to do is I want to pretty much want to wrap my page up into a container. So I create a class of container type, and this just gives it those borders that you're used to from like Bootstrap, if you're used to using Bootstrap. But in this initiative, what we're trying to do is do something like Bootstrap without using Bootstrap. So we're trying to, because again, that's another framework you get tied into, and we want to keep ourselves free. So what I want to try to do is so I'm going to deploy this page. It's got a few styles, not too much in here right now, just it's got the style sheet. There's the bootstrap. We're using font awesome for just some icons. Always looks a little bit better with icons. We put a title in here called pretty print. Now, so I'm changing the font a little bit, or the writer, for these form label. These are for a grid to show. So I have a light blue and a dark blue. And then we have a way of displaying a grid. However, for this example, we do want to get some JSON. So here's a URL that can provide us a way of retrieving. So we can change this. It just happens to say debug girl. Is there a bug? Girl? So what what I want to then go to is one of the servlets that we have. So if I look at the Java section, the servlets, we've got an API query. So let's just set up a query maybe instead of Mongo that's creating a database, or maybe we want to do that, I'm not sure. Yeah, okay, so here's an input data right here. This is what I want to show actually. Okay, so this is my work number. And so I'm going to put this out on the top, and basically what I want to do is when the page loads, we want to build a function that will display this JSON in a nice way. So it's going to be a little tricky. So let's first, the simplest thing when you just show it as it is, what you get. So let's use jQuery to get, did I call it content? Content. So what I need to do is translate it into a string. So what I would do is just go json.stringify this, and then I'd pass it the JSON object that I want to show. But I'm going to show you something else that we're going to do. We're going to create we'll do this, we'll create a pretty print function. And what I should ideally do is put this inside of one of our JavaScript functions. So maybe create a new one, I don't know. But I guess right now I'll just create a pretty print, and it'll be the JSON. So what I wanted to show you in this video is how you could traverse the tree with the JSON. So what we're going to do essentially is work out a way of, let's say, color coding the keys. So to get the keys of my JSON object, if we assume that the JSON object is going to always start with the curly braces, what we can do is we can say let my keys equal the object dot keys of the input of the my JSON object. And then once you have the keys, we can my keys dot length, you can traverse through the keys. So let's let a key equal my keys of I. And then you can do something kind of clever here, is that we can define a template equal like this. And then we can evaluate the template. So I can say let my inner HTML, my inner sanctum, equal the template. I can evaluate this corner here. Now I can build my template. So let's define my template then as just straight HTML. So this could be loaded from a div if you had it in the HTML part, or it can just be coded in here. So what I'm going to do is I want to display the key, but I want to color code it. So what I was thinking is I would font color equal, so I can put it in a font tag, so I could give the font style equal, and then this will be the key. So I put $key, and then for the style, because it's, let's look at how Json pretty print looks in some other company, how other companies do this. So let's see, if I look at Json pretty print, I think they make it in pink actually, the keys. So let's, I don't know if these guys do that or not. My browser, let's see, so I grab our, here, this is our JSON. If I can just select it, and then I can go to that website, and then if I paste it in, we're trying to achieve, see, this is, okay, so these people do it green for the value, and they're going with a kind of charcoal bluish, dark blue charcoal color for the key part. So let's see, what is the hex code for charcoal blue gray? So we can pick something like that. So let's pick, also just define a class, CSS class. So I guess I could just say class equals key. What is this? Key color. But let's not use font then. We'll wrap it in a label. Not to label anyone, of course, I wouldn't do that. But I'll put in, see, we've already got dark blue there. But we could define, what is it? Charcoal. Key color. Just key color. Key color. So this is font. I just say color, I think. And then I would do font family. Let's give it an, see if you could get, I'll just do Old English right now just to see if it works, because it's quite distinctive otherwise, and then I'll change it to the writer. So let's see if we can view this. Let's first, we have to return, so let's let my HTML equal this. So as I go through each key element, I'll just say my HTML plus equals my inner HTML, and then we'll return this. We're not even close to done yet, but we just can at least see the keys, only the keys right now, and then there'll only be one. It should just show identification. That's it. In color, because I only have identification here, and that's it. And then we're going to have to use a concept called recursion to get pretty print to continue, and then we're also going to have to keep track. So what I'm actually going to do is pass it a 0 as well. So we're going to keep track of what level we're at. So this is going to be my level, and then we can implement pretty print. So let me go back to the console now. Luckily I installed this shell script, so if I back out to my main part, whoops, I meant to put a space there, and then you'll see that I have a deploy script, so I can sudo deploy that to the server, and then I have to wait for it to build, and I know I'm not really building any Java code. It's going to rebuild it, package it into a WAR file, and deploy it to the Tomcat Apache web server, which has automatic service built into it that looks for changes in the WAR files or new WAR files that are there, and then it unzips them, unpacks them, and puts them into the right place, and then we can see it on the web page. So give it a bit of time because that daemon process or whatever it is has to run and do what it's designed to do. And then we can just go to, and if you want to check it, you can go to 8080 on the web server. You can manage your application. You have to sign in. You set up Tomcat users, an administrator that allows you to permissions to sign in, and we're doing web API here. So you'll see it's not started. See, web API. So if I refresh, is it automatically? Why is it not running? So can we start it? If I do, I don't know why it's not. Whoops. Click on it. Let's start it. See what happens. So fail, cannot be started. So let's go check. I think that's because it's web-API. So let's see what WAR file it created. Web. Oh, maybe I didn't. Oh, it did deploy that web-API. So is that where we're going? I think I changed the web.xml before I shut down. So I'm gonna have to update my web.xml file. So let me, because it's free, this thing does something weird with trying to overwrite some files sometimes. Like if you go around edit things and then wants to change it back to some old version or something, it's weird. So this one, not my build.xml, but in my web app I've got my web.xml. I added this, and I think this is what is making it not work. So I will comment this out. So I think there's something missing there. And then we're going to try it one more time. So we'll try to deploy that. Oh, the other thing that it could be when this is happening, it's often the case actually, was we may need to change the owner because I deployed it as a sudo owner, which means I don't have the right permissions. So let me open up a new terminal, and then I do Control-Alt-T, which should give me a new window, and then I am logged in as David. So I'll just go to the Tomcat directory and we'll take a look at what's going on there. So if I go to opt Tomcat web apps, that's where the WAR files get deployed. I do a minus listing of this. You can see that, okay, see this is root. That's going to be a problem because let's change the owner then. So that's why it's not working. So I gotta go web-API, change the owner of that to, but I have to do sudo because it's root, and that was the problem. So I have to change it to either David or Tomcat. Let's get back into David land here. And then I want to do the same thing for the WAR file. Web. I should have really deployed. I shouldn't be root when I deploy it, or I should change the owner if I do. See, that was a problem I was having, is I couldn't copy the files in to that directory unless I sudo in, and then it becomes root, which then the Tomcat server doesn't have permissions to unpack it properly. Now let's also just double check that the files got in there okay. So if I go into web API, this was, yeah, there's our pretty print right there in the HTML. So we see we do have the right files. So let's go back to our manager here, and then list the applications. I don't know if I have to log back in or not. Let's see. Okay, so now we've got an Arch type created web application. You see that it got started because it had those permissions problems. So these little things, if you're new to programming, people talk about staying up all night trying to figure it out. They couldn't figure it out. Going to support groups, trying to, news forums about the problem and posting and waiting for a comment back to figure it out. No one can figure it out. Is it really difficult to Google something like this? You don't know what really is going on, like what, but it, as an experienced person, and that's what I've been in those trenches, so I know, which is why I'm trying to help. If you're new to programming, those little things are little gems of wisdom, and so you see that that got it working. So let's see if we can go to that page now. So if I go localhost, that's just my computer essentially. The Apache Tomcat is deployed. You can change the port to whatever you want. We want to go to the web API, and then we want to go to the pretty print HTML, and then okay, let's put the title. We'll do a couple changes, cosmetic changes. Also, it didn't do this correctly, so we're gonna have to fix the code. I think we probably got an error in here somehow. So template, eval template, key, my keys, object keys, my JSON, pretty print, input data. Oops. Oh yeah, that's right. And then I got my level, and then I return. I don't know why that didn't work. So in document ready, let's see if we can debug why this isn't. Okay, this obviously has an error. Let's get the header inside, so in the container, so that at least that's part of the thing here. And then we don't need a refresh button just yet, so I'm going to take that out. So just a few cosmetics, and then this is also wrong. We're going to change this to, I think, API query, and then just make like SQL equals select star from identification. I'm going to try something like this, and then but we're not doing this quite yet where we can get dynamic JSON. We're just trying to apply our simple JSON here. Old English. Now let's that won't get updated until I redeploy. So again, I just press the cog wheel, and it will just recompile everything. Now this is okay. I have to say this is very time-consuming way of doing this, because for every little cosmetic little change that you make, you have to redeploy the whole thing, and then it's kind of takes a long time. It would be nice to be able to, what's called in the industry, they call it hot fixing, where you just change the file directly on the web server. This is a more professional way of kind of doing the development, but it takes a lot longer. So now I could refresh the page, and you'll see our change went in there. Now something's not displaying right on that pre-setup there. So let's see what's going on. We've got this, nothing in the content, so nothing happened. So let's look for our head. So we've got, why is it all, why is it not showing the carriage returns? That's weird. Alright, so anyway, what is all this stuff in here? I mean, document ready is there, content, pretty print. Don't see a problem just yet. Oh, here, what's that? Console? There's one. So we've just got a syntax error. Line 65, so let's go over there. line, something recoded, I think. Syntax error right here. What's wrong with this? Is that a double quote? No, it says it's by the bracket. Oh, here. What's the syntax there? Oh, line 65. Oh, this. My keys. Yeah, what's wrong with this? Oh, I plus plus. It's just coding too fast. It helps to have a certain personality type to do this type of work. It's very fastidious. I'm not sure I'm always in that sort of way, but eventually I get the answer. Alright, so we gotta fix this, and then we should be able to see something on the screen. We should just see the word identification in charcoal gray blue. So let's hit refresh. Identification even has the font. Old English, look at that. So that's great. That's a great start. Now, what we want to do is we want to get the value. So I'm going to go let val equals. Now to get the value, I just reference it by the key. And I want to check how. We always ask Google here. So how in JavaScript can I know if an object is an array? So you have to know enough about programming to know how to ask the question to get the answer that you're looking for. So let's say there's our object. We want to find a way to know if this is an array. You'll see that there is a function for this actually. So if this val then we're going to use a concept called recursion. So what I'm going to do in this situation with the value is I'm first going to say let my list equal my val. Then I'm going to go for let I. It won't be I, but item in my list. So for let index equals 0, index less than my list length, index plus plus. Let's get the item. So let item equal list of the index. Now here's where the real genius comes in. So now I've got another JSON object coming from, and so all I have to do, this is brilliant, is call myself with the item, with the inner level, inner sanctum, and I'm going to take my level and I'm going to increment it one like this, because that's going to help with the spacing. Oh, my phone woke up.
So easy to learn and pick up and integrate into your practice, especially if you have a lot of.
Oh, they wanted to get some free advertising in the video regarding tax recording. Alright, so we know we're in the northwest corner when we went to St. Olaf freshman year in college, and we're going to pretty print that. So this will keep accumulating. Now here's a problem, is I don't think I can quite do this. Let's try it. I might have to bring this in to the function, but maybe it'll work. I don't know. becomes mysterious even for me at this point when you start using recursion sometimes. Um, it's considered an advanced topic or an advanced solution, but you see, I did it quite simply, and you could follow along. I do get giddy sometimes when you get the right answer by using this technique because it's quite ingenious. So if you go back to our browser now and then refresh, no, it didn't work. So we do have to pull that out from the top because it's just reinitializing and then we're not really getting it. So I think we go like this, we go like this, and then we go like this so that this can accumulate as it goes, and it's still going to return this at the end. So we should still have the string returning. This will accumulate it this way because we're adding on each time. So I think that should work. No, I don't think this, I'm not sure if this isArray function is working, but we'll find out. We may have to put a little console log in here just to see that it is indeed working. So this again is only printing out the keys at this time. So finished. There's a little delay in from when you finish compiling it to when it becomes available. So again, I'm never really sure if you have the new code or not. I don't see anything different. You can right click, we look at the inspector and see if it has our change. So if I went in here, I don't know why it's reformatting our, it's like minifying it or something. But let's see, do we pass in? Where's our function? Can't see here. Preprint. Oh, there it is. So it doesn't have it yet. Look, it's not there. That's item plus plus. So, oh, I know. I did forget to do something. I forgot to pass it in here. So let's do that. My HTML, comma. It's too bad it's reformatting it. I think Firefox, my browser, is doing that actually, because it wasn't doing that before, even yesterday. So it must be, and I didn't update my browser, so it's sort of different. Anyway, so I'm just kind of getting used to using some of these inspector tools that they have built into Firefox that allow you to look at what's happening behind the scenes here. Again, we don't know if unless what we could do, see if you're having this sort of issue where you're not really sure, it's not working the way you expect, you're not sure if it's getting through, what people do is they sometimes put in what's called debugging information. So you can do a console log. At least we know, because this was a new function that we haven't used before. I want to see if it works. So now another way that might be quicker is just to create, what I've been using is web test, which is just a basic website that's already deployed, and you can just directly edit the file. So now let's look at the console. You see that we get our array. And then why are the keys not displaying though for the next piece of it? So let's go check again. we could see the item where console log. See if it is a JSON object. We could try that. And then my HTML. We could see how we're doing with that. So what I was expecting is that item gets passed in here. It'll get those keys. It's going to add them to the existing my HTML. And then that's what we return. So I got lots of debugging in there now. So a couple things to check. One is it a JSON object or is it a string that we're passing through? Because you see, JavaScript is a loosely typed language. But by doing a console.log, we can see if the item is indeed, we're looping through JSON. We pass in a JSON object. We haven't done a conversion on it, so it should maintain its type throughout, one would expect. So, but it's not working, so we will find out why that is. So there's our HTML. So we've got the key color identification. We've got the label. Good. Now we've got here. Oh, here it is. Now we've got label identification. Now we've got the other labels. But they're not getting in the page for some reason. So let's go and find out why that is. So we pass it in correctly. And now let's assign it a variable outside of this. So cut or return. I like to use let_ret for my return object name sometimes from a function. So let's console log. Sometimes then when you have too much debugging, you get lost in the debugging world and it's hard. So sometimes I wrap things in stars but alternatively you can look at the line number in your file. This is line 60, 61. So pay attention to that because luckily in the debugger windows using Firefox, is it a bug? We should be able to get the line number where it's printing. Maybe that's why Firefox has changed my line spacing on the debugger windows. Let's find out though. So was it line 60 indeed? And give it a moment. See, that's in between, so that means that Apache Tomcat has deleted the previous web application and is replacing it with the new one. And then when I hit refresh again, you'll see that we're only getting the first bit and not the second bit here. So what I could do is that's quite unusual. It's not what I expected. So what we can do is we can say let new, because strings are considered immutable. So my new val would equal my HTML. Let's see if there's a way of doing this. JavaScript is new string object. So I can say a new string like this. I don't normally have to do this. I'm actually surprised I have to do this, but okay. And then we can put the new val in. And then, so the other thing is we can also try to again, this is one of those gotchas that could keep you up late at night. The other thing you try is try if it's working as by reference. So in many languages, when you pass a variable through, this isn't normally how JavaScript works with strings, but because strings are considered immutable. But let's find out what is going on anyway, where that's part of the debugging process. So in this video, we're going through the process of an advanced topic called recursion, and we have to use a lot of this when we're parsing through something that's infinite like Json. So let's see if we can figure out why it's not accumulating itself when we have the answer right there staring at us, but why we can't get the answer out. So let's find out why that is. So empty string, so it's nothing. But then, so that doesn't work. This does work. Oh, I know why it is. Silly me. So it's because we're returning from the function. We forgot to, if we did my HTML plus equals this, we didn't really have to do that. Now it should give us the result that we're looking for. That's what we forgot to do, because in Java it's passed by reference with the object. So when you change the objects in a function like this in Java, the programming language, it will change the value of the object. But in JavaScript, the strings are immutable, so you lose the value of the object, which is why we have to set it equal to itself again. So now we should get more what we expected, and we get all of the identification, ID, name, number, identification details. Okay, that's good. So now that's a good start. So what does JSON look like in this again? So we want like this, and then we want the colon, and then we want this. So let's start adding the pieces here. So where we add the key here, we want to add another thing, the colon. And then if it's an array, we want to add a couple things. We want to add this. And let's see what else they do. Okay. I guess we're going to skip the beginning and the end for now. We're just going to do this part. Then after that is a line break. So in HTML, a line break would be not a RN like this, but it would be like this. A break, sometimes they go like that. So we put a line break in. Now this is visually what we're trying to achieve. Go back to my little model there, and then when you begin a section, we put the curly braces in. So that means back at the top, what we're doing is we're doing right in the beginning, as you go through the keys, you put those curly braces in, and then it looks like they are putting line break. In word processing, it was the carriage return line, so that's a legacy of word processing as the internet evolved from desktop publishing ultimately, which itself evolved from print media, newspaper, that kind of thing. So this should give us that, and then at the end it looks like they put in another carriage return, and then put another one in, and that would be it. So that's going to give those wrapper bits, and then let's try to compile and build. Now I'm right here next to the router, but my phone is just doing a. They call it the infinite beach ball. Some people at work used to call it. I don't know why, but you see these beach balls. These please wait icons. They're quite popular in terms of networking, and they provide a way of providing feedback when nothing's happening. So now should look. Oops, I must have done some syntax error there on 101. So at least they're giving me the line number. I forgot to put in end quotes. So picky, so picky. All right, so Northwest Territories, Norwest Bank, Norwesterly. All right, let's check cat size. All right, so let's see where this is going. Oh, here we go. So for some reason we've got identification duplicating. Now look at this. So the whole thing is duplicating. We're overdoing things here. So we start there. That was good. Then that was good. But then let me add it again. We're double adding here. So let's see. Uh, what if I ignored what we're passing through, and then just do it this way now? So maybe we were actually right the first time. Then we don't need to pass it in. I don't know. I'm as confused as you are. Let's find out. Let's wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. Oh, I can't do that. Aha! So let's just take it out. Go back to the way we were doing it. Just to see. I thought that should work, but it wasn't, so I wasn't sure why. Now, yeah, because that accumulates it. Maybe that'll work. Okay. Oh, what happened? Oh, it's deploying. Oh no, oh no. What? 71? What are the odds? There's a problem on 71. Oh yeah, the first one, you can't do that. Again, it'd be much quicker if we could just edit the file directly on the web server, which technically you can do. But we're just trying to follow a formal development process for the purposes of this video. Now, okay, here we go. Now the exciting bit. Refresh. Not there. Okay. No, look. Identification. Good. We got this. Whether it seems to be double spaced here. And then What's happening here though? Oh yeah, that's good. So there, good. The new Json, good. And that's it. So that's good, actually. It's pretty good. Now, I don't. Is it the font maybe that's causing that? So let's just change that font. It's kind of gets annoying. It's kind of cute at first, but then gets a bit much. And then I wonder, is it because of the carriage returns that? So I might take those out. And try that. Because it seemed like it was double spaced. Now that we've fixed that problem, we can get rid of some of this debugging now. This will just slow down everything if you have too much debugging in. And then save it, redeploy. If you get too much going on in the console, you can always just sweep up, clean it, and then you can track what's happening as you deploy. So redeploying all the jars and everything the servlet code needs to make itself happen. Now, there we go. So it's normal font. It's good. Now we want to indent. So how do we do that? What do? First thing after this, they go. The thing is, we should come up with how much we want for indenting, or how. Let's see how. I don't even know how to do this. How to provide indenting in HTML. Like, I don't even know. I think the only thing I know is yeah, I guess we could do this, right? So we have to add this style maybe. So let's see if this will work for indenting. So we can keep track of it, like we can calculate the indenting based on the level. So that's an integer. So to do that, I can put this right in the style here, so I can, like I didn't know how to do it, but let's put in this, be some multiple of my level. So if you want a 3 pixels per, it would be whatever. So it'd be my level times how many pixels per tab. So pixels per tab. Just do 3 for now. I can always change that. Again, this is much too time consuming just for figuring out, a single style display on an HTML file. But we'll go with it for now. Okay, that's too small. I can barely see it. I think, I don't even know if it worked. Alright. Let's go 10. Do you use P? Or will text indent work for label? I don't know. Will work for label. Alright, let's try it. It says it will work. So 3 is hardly noticeable. I can't even tell. So let's refresh. And then, oops, did I redeploy? I don't know if I did. Hit that button. Okay, so we want to be able, let's put this into a variable because we need to use it in other places. So I'm going to say let indent style equal this. That gives me the style tag for this. So now I can just, I'm doing this because we have to use it in other places. Actually, I'll just use this clever technique, indent style. Now, we also have to apply it here. So, unfortunately then, I have to put this also as a label. Okay, so that's that. And again, this probably needs the same thing, so alright, so at least we have a mechanism by which we can provide tabbing now. So that's Tabitha. Tab, a new paragraph begins. We can add to our descriptive narrative of the story as it unfolds, and we uncover the secrets to what was going on in Northfield all along. So let's refresh. Give it a moment. Give it a moment. Give it a moment. Go. There. Now we got. Look at the nice tabbing. See that? As we progress through, we tap, tap, tap. Now we notice that in their design, we should have also have added one to here. Here should be a little more. So let's look. So this. Oh, so ours looks the same. See, so that's got to come over. Right. So if this were gonna be that, then this might be, oh dear, this one's different. Oh yeah, so okay, so when you go in here, it looks like this changes to +1. This is a homework assignment I had when I went to BCIT, British Columbia Institute of Technology, and I was studying C programming. They made us write what's called a code beautifier, which is actually quite complicated. It took me most of the evening, so hopefully this video doesn't go that long. But It involved recursion and then having to keep track of all of the curly braces, whether you're starting one, ending one, starting one, ending one. To know, it got quite confusing. And then we all got it working eventually, but it was quite an exercise in how to code and like getting organized and stuff. Okay, that's good. But you see, they're not even here because when we added that and we changed that, it's not now. Oh, we forgot the closed ones to be equal, which means that because we changed it here, we have to change it again when we come back to the original. So that would just be back to this formula. And one more thing is, as then also um, after this, we need a line break, I think. So because if I look at what what's being served here, each one gets its own line. So let's see if we can apply that just by adding another break at the end there. So this is when I'm looping through those keys. Put in the break. So far so good. Redeploy. A lot of waiting. One manager that I had working was like, how much of your life are you waiting for your... And if you add up all of the times you have to wait, it's like, what do you think that's all worth? So there we go. I don't like this extra space here. I don't know the extra break. So we got an extra thing going on here. So I think that's coming from this now. Is it? No. Where do you think the extra one's coming on the closing bit? So this one we needed, but then this was okay. I think so. Let me look where we are here. So we had the opening break, and then after we've got an extra one here before the closing. So here, I think it's this one, oddly. It's like, but how can it be down there, you say? Or is it this one? No, because we were looping through there. That's okay. I don't fully understand. Let's just try that. Some people liken the frustration that can come from not being able to figure this out. It's like banging your head against the wall. This is often an idiomatic expression used by developers the world over. Is the guy stayed up all night banging his head against the wall and couldn't figure it out because they say, and then they throw in Einstein when they talk like that and say, yeah, insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Okay, so this is all good. This now didn't get the same as that for some reason, and then this is off. So what's happening? We did fix the space. That was good. Is this the same as that now? That's okay. Now this had to go minus now. The closing. Okay, so we need a different formula there. So down here, when we're outside, we need to do a minus one. It looks like. Looks like, anyway. We'll try it. Never hurts to try. That's more positive in high school when I took a computer science programming class. My teacher was like, go ahead, do what you want with the computer because there's nothing you can do to a computer. So be creative and try things out. Okay, so didn't. It worked in all cases except for that. So at the end, we didn't want to do it. At the end, what we could do is instead of doing that, at the end of this key loop, when you run out, here, you could do minus this because you're passing it through. And that might help. Because the first is adding, and then the second, see, as you drill into the inner sanctum of your level, you have to undo on your way out what you do on your way in, sort of thing. It's kind of an odd concept to wrap your head around. It's another one that you get often. It took me a while to wrap my head around the data model. Okay, so everything looks good except for this notes. Except for the first one for some reason. But these are all good. That's good. That's good. Just that one. Oh, why is that? A 0. Maybe because you started at 0? There's something weird about it being 0. Start at 1. Wouldn't it make a difference? You can get rid of some of this debugging too now that we knew the solution there. So the next time we deploy, we won't have that debugging. Alright, so it's quite elegant so far. I like it. I am having trouble wrapping my head around why just that one. And how I know, like, okay, so here, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. And then we dive in. So this got increased, but then but it's the same print line for each of them. Why 2 of them are right and that one's wrong means that, where do I put the notes in? I put the notes in key right here. There. So, oh, that's the problem right there. You see I went +1, which was perfect, which means my level here is wrong. That's the reason, because of this. See, that made that even, which just caused the problem right here. You might have gone like this. If I equals 0 maybe. And then you have a problem when you come in with the array here, see? Because when you come out of it, oh, maybe the problem's here. when you come out of this, we never close the array. So we haven't considered that. That's the problem. So if I look at this, when we close the array, it it we got to print one of these, and then okay, so when we finish the array, because we did that, we have to close it. And I think here is where something happens. Perhaps we do a minus my level here, maybe. That's what's missing. Maybe, I'm guessing now. And then after that, do we line break? So there we went a minus C. So this is that minus here after that. And then we line break after. Shouldn't we have a closed curly braces though as well? No, because that goes with that, I think. Let's try it again. See, it gets... Everything's quite logical naturally. However, you can see how it can quickly become confusing. It's not, it's elegant, but it's like sophisticated, I guess is the word you might use. Complicate's a little different. It would seem like it's complicated, but it's actually, because it's quite elegant, it's more like the word sophisticated might be used. Maybe. Oh, that was good. Now, I forgot to apply styles to... That looks much better. See, they're all even now. Good, that worked. Good, David. Now you gotta wrap those bracelets in with your indenting. So, where is the opening bracelet in the array here? So, how do we do that? Just do the same thing we did with the curlies, and then change it to whatever you have for the bracelet. So bracelet, get rid of that. So we're making pretty good progress. We might get an A on this homework assignment after all. There we go. So let's, well, we don't know yet. That's a little presumptuous of me. Haven't tested it. We may have to change the indent formula for the braces. These square brackets, they're called. They're called brackets, David. Okay, not braces. These, what are these curly things called? Are those braces? I don't know. A lot of the vocabulary comes from the print industry. It's different. Okay, so they for some reason kept this on this line. Now, why is there so many spaces there? Oh yeah, because here, oh yeah, we've added all those spaces. We don't want that for the opening one, because if you look at what they have, we only want that to be one. So we basically, for the opening one, need to define our own little formula. It's different. So we just got to hard code the level for that. for the opening one because that one's different. So let's just make that one. It's just one space for that. And then we still don't have our values in, but they should be trivial now because we've got the keys in place. Do we have the values? So let's look. Now, why we're doing this, why we think it's important, is because if we need steak with sizzle, is what many marketing people have said. It's also another with platitudes, aphorisms, quotes, inspirational. I don't know, but they seem to guide people often in. There we go. So we just got the one space. Starting to look pretty good. It's gonna look like theirs, and then like I said, the rest will be trivial. We want to add another space, and then we want to put in the value, and this time we want to change the color. So how are we going to do that? So let's add the space first because we just did that, and we want to do the same thing. So I'm going to go like this. So after we did the key, where are we doing? That's part of the key here. We did the colon. Then we're going to put a space in. We can just make this a bit easier. I'll just show you another trick. We can reference this variable directly in here with mathematics. So I can go like this times 1 if you want, and it will do the math directly inside the the string. It will just happen automagically. So there's 1 pixel. And then, did I put that in the right place? And then what? I don't, that's nothing. And then what? And then, is there a space as well? No. What are we putting in? Oh, we're putting the value in, aren't we? After that? Oh yeah. Indent a space and then just put the value in. Except we might, oh yeah, that's right. So this would actually resolve then to the value. Now we might want to double quote that, but don't take my word for it. It's a little pun. It's a little humor. Sentence humor, word humor, poetry. Alright, so let's check again. Another advantage of doing it this way, even though it's inefficient, is that it gives us time to chat, which, as you can tell, we just love to do. And boom, there it is. Ooh, what happened here? Aha. So yeah, we only want to do that. Oops. So, whoop, whoop, say, okay, so let's change this to let display val equal the val. Now something different see happens. So if we'll do another check here. So if, now this is type of coding, I noticed the problem. And then what I'm doing is hacking right now. So this is not so elegant. And then I just switch this to display value. But I know it'll work because it's just a quick hack. It's called. It's improper. You shouldn't take it as a guide. There should be a more elegant way to achieve that, but I don't know what it is, so I'm just going to hack it. Sometimes you just have to be pragmatic. You have to know the rules to break them. And that's what we're doing here. We know hacking's not right, but you know, another thing my computer science teacher at BCIT taught us is that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. There, there, we've got it. Now I think it would look better with quotes. And I think the color's different, so let's make a green color for that, for the val. So how did it get colorized in the first place? I think it's just picking up on this key color. Now we can add another one here for val color or something. Val color? Val color. And then that's one part. And then we wanted quotes because we think it'll look better. So how do I put a quote when I'm in a quote? This is, again, something that gets confusing. You use a backslash quote. See, that you wouldn't know unless you knew it. You'd have to search or Google. And then we define the style up at the top. So in the same way, you could change, I'm just going to copy it because you could change the font for the values if you want it to stand out differently or whatever. That's your creative. Now we need to get that color, so let's go see what it looks like. So they're using green. Is there a way I can sneak a peek at what color they picked? So if I use my inspector, there are some people that are good at this. I'm not the greatest, but you see how it tries to figure out the style, where it all comes from. There's, you get a color. That's not it. But there should be a green. Sometimes they show you the color too, I think, but I'm not sure. So we're on the text area, not in the text area. Might be confusing. This is some special editor, so I don't really know. So don't worry about it. Just go hex color, like forest green or something maybe. Is it too dark? Here's one. Pick that one. That's not too dark. I think that would be alright. Let's pick the old 22s. Them's your old 22s. Oops, you don't have to double hash brown that. Alright, so let's go back to the old pretty printer. Oop, I didn't deploy that change. I just expected it to be there like I have some sort of God complex. Which I don't, but if I did, that would explain. That was just on an ego trip. But now I realize I have to be humble and I have to wait. And I have to let the technology just explore what it wants to do. Just go with it, and then I should see double quotes when I know I have my changes in place, which I do. Oops, look at that. But I don't want double quotes. Aha! So I'm going to have to see that. I have to fix that. Remember, because of our hack. See, that's one of the problems with hacking. So actually what you want to do is you want to add it to the else. You want to add it to your display val. So I could go display val here equals plus display val. So I'm going to wrap it here instead. And then keys. And then I want to put a flag in here for that. So I'm going to say let use double quotes equals 1. So if that's true, and then we might want to make that optional later. The same with the keys. So sometimes people wrap the key. Again, to do that, we'd have to change this to let display key equal key, and then do this on this. Display key, display key, display key. Add another one. Sometimes they do either or both, so I'm giving both options. Don't mind me. And then we have to switch over to the new way over here, I guess. It shouldn't affect anything, should be okay. Let's see what it looks like in the previous build when I do a refresh. We fixed the little bug. Now let's do the new build. And did I give it a 1? So now we're going to add quotes to the keys to see if we can support that option. We're adding options. Sometimes people pass those as JSON objects so that they otherwise you get so many variables everywhere. Sometimes it makes the code a little bit more readable. That's another buzzword these days that's popular. It's called code readability. Is your code easy to read? There, see, it looks too hairy when I do that. Doesn't it look hairy? Let's pull those out and not use it on the keys so that looks hairy. Alright, so okay, so that is how to effectively implement a pretty print algorithm on a JSON object for display in an HTML page, very concisely, calmly, and in a live coding environment. This has not been prepared beforehand or rehearsed. It is completely on the spot, and we had a few struggles, but there it is. We could create our own pretty print website if we want. Oh, I think we're off. Uh-oh. We're off. This should be back. Almost did it. Nope, they're all forward like that though. Look. Should that be like that? Some of this is a little bit of preference, but yeah, see, they're off too. Look. Oh yeah, this feels awkward, doesn't it? Like it's off. Theirs is off. We copied them, that's why. Is that right? Yeah, see that? I feel like that looks awkward, but that's the way they do it, so I guess that's what we'll follow the protocol. Alright, so that's that, and again we started with 1. We should really move that back to 0 just for the last little tidbit. There. And then we'll just wrap up this video. I think this is a great show. So we'll see you in the next podcast. Thanks for your time. And we'll keep exploring. Stay curious. And we'll see you in the next video.